You have sent him the link, but good morning and welcome to a fresh edition for the week of Inside Nigeria, your breakfast on leadership television. Today is Monday, 20th January 2025, and my name is Winifred Ugbo, your host of the program. On today's first segment of the show, as we normally do, we'll look at what the papers are saying, national papers that is, including Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's go there and see what leadership is offering on its menu this Monday. Japa syndrome threatening Nigeria's workforce. Leading story today on leadership. More citizens seek greener pastures due to hardship. Institutions battle with brain drain. Kickers to that leading story, Japa syndrome threatening Nigeria's workforce. Police kill 7 bandits, recover 109 roasted animals in Katsina. Ceasefire, Hamas frees 3 Israeli hostages. Wike said to commission seized roads in FCT. Trump urged to ban corrupt Nigerian officials from US. The story is on page 16 of leadership. Of course, Trump is there to take the oath of office for his second tenure today, Monday, January 2025. Trump urged to ban corrupt Nigerian officials from US. And we have a picture on the cover of leadership. It's not just any other picture, but is actually the picture of the editor-in-chief, as we say, with leadership's person of the year, that is the president of Dangote Refineries, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, at the Dangote Refinery in Lekki, Lagos, last week Tuesday. That is presenting to you leadership's person of the year award, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. Congratulations to him. Moving ahead towards the masthead, we have Niger tanker explosion death to hit 86. Tinubu orders mourn. The story is on page 7 of leadership. It's also the leading story on the other papers we have on our menu this Monday. Niger tanker explosion death to hits 86. Tinubu orders mourn. And on the business boss of leadership, vandals attack 18 transmission towers in 6 days. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has decried the surge in the vandalization of transmission towers in the country. The National Transmission Company said over 18 transmission towers were vandalized between January 9 and 14, 2025 across rivers, Abia and Kano states. These are paragraphs to that business boss story. Vandals attack 18 transmission towers in 6 days. And above the masthead of leadership awards, Shetima, that is the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, confirms attendance as keynote speaker. The story is on page 7 of leadership. Meanwhile, let's move to page 3, where we have our stand. And today's stand is on the specter of a second Trump presidency. As Donald Trump prepares to take office as the 47th president of the United States today, his return to the White House signals what could be the most consequential shift in American governance and global geopolitics in recent memory. His victory over Kamala Harris in the November elections, while stunning to many observers, follows a campaign that promised not just a continuation but an amplification of his America First agenda. Also, 2 paragraphs in that stand today on leadership, the specter of a second Trump presidency, as Donald Trump, the 47th president of the United States, takes oath of office today, 20th January 2025. With that, we move to the back page where we have Monday column. Today is on lessons of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire. Of course, you're aware by now that Hamas and Israel have finally signed the ceasefire agreement, with the Hamas releasing 3 hostages to the Israeli government. In quotes, despite the temporary relief the ceasefire provides, such agreements often fail to address the root causes of violence. How true. Of course, you want to read more on this column today. Continuation of the headline stories at the stand and inside pages. Don't forget to log on to www.leadership.ng for continuation of these stories. Meanwhile, let's move to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun says Niger tanker explosion aftermath, grief, tears as 80 fuel fire victims get mass burial. Federal government governors APC can Obi orders mourn. Tinubu orders campaign on danger of scooping fuel as death toll rises to 86. We have the picture of the fuel tanker after explosion yesterday beneath that leading story on Daily Sun this Monday. Grief, tears as 80 fuel fire victims get mass burial. However, the death toll has risen to 86 as of today. Beneath that, we have tax reform bills to be enacted by first quarter. Implementation starts July, coming from the chairman of the tax committee, tax reforms committee, Oyedele. Tax reform bills to be enacted by first quarter. Implementation starts July. Bad loans. Onosanya dismisses allegations, vows to defend reputation. Operation Udoga Achi, Soludo politicizing insecurity, Obiora Okonkwo. Dezani denies ownership of repatriated $52.8 million loot, claims money belongs to Kola Aluko. That takes us gradually to the masthead of Daily Sun. IMF retains Nigeria's 3.2% 2025 growth projection, urges federal government to consolidate fiscal policies. And beside the masthead of Daily Sun presidency, while Buhari appeared in Paris court over $6 billion Mabila contract fraud. That also concludes the review of 4 headline stories on Daily Sun this Monday. For more, log on to www.thesun.ng. From Daily Sun, we move over to the next paper on our menu, and that is The Punch. The Punch says NLC forced fresh petrol price hike, says federal government insensitive. Labor fears hike with fuel for food prices. Increase in line with rising crude price, Dangote. We'll take that again. Of course, the price of petrol pump price has increased once again due to the hike in crude prices. NLC forced fresh petrol price hike, says federal government insensitive. Labor fears hike with fuel food crisis. Increase in line with rising crude price, Dangote. Beneath that, we have the picture of the released Hamas hostages to Israeli yesterday. Of course, you can see the joy on the faces of loved ones and families as they were reunited with their families. Gaza UN orders chair as freed Israelis reunite with families. That's the headline for that photo on the cover of the Punch newspaper. UN orders chair as freed Israelis reunite with families. 89,000 Nigerians denied Schengen visa in 2 years, according to reports. Mastermind arrested as Lagos Van Plateau trafficked minors rescued. Arik Air shareholders tackle AMCON over 455 billion naira debt claim. Beside the masthead of the Punch, Niger explosion, Tinubu Buhari orders mourn as death toll hit 86. And above the masthead, labor crisis, Obi Otis caretaker panel drags Abure before Supreme Court. Mass deportation fear, border closure as Trump returns to White House. Edo Tribunal, police tightens security as violence rises. The story is on page 2 of the Punch. Of course, the Edo Tribunal have started sitting on the September 24th Edo Guba election last year, 2024. Edo Tribunal, police tightens security as violence rises. The story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Is on that note, we conclude review of front headline stories of the Punch this Monday. For more, log on to the website of the Punch. Even as we move to the next paper on our headline today, and that is THISDAY. THISDAY says with 265 lost to tanker explosions in 4 months, Tinubu moves to avert recurrence. With 265 lost to tanker explosions in 4 months, Tinubu moves to avert recurrence. Others high-powered committee as Suleja death toll reaches 88 most victims. Instruct security road safety authorities to deploy to work. Mandates NOA to sensitize public about risk of scooping fuel from falling tankers. Buhari, Shettima, First Lady, Ganduje, governors, senators, IG, can others agree. Europe on edge as Trump takes office as US president today to sign over 100 executive orders within hours. These are leading stories on THISDAY newspaper this Monday. Europe on edge as Trump takes office as US president today to sign over 100 executive orders within hours. TikTok begins restoring service for users after Trump comments. And above the masthead of this day, Wike raises FCT's revenue by over 177% from 9 billion naira to 25 billion naira in 19 months. Matches number of C of O's issued in about 13 years. Expresses reservation over planned state policing initiative. Repatriated $52.8 million loot, embattled Dizani disowns any connections with phone. It has been a trendy story yesterday arising from the press release from her legal representative that she had no hand in the repatriated loot, $52.8 million loot. That concludes the review of front headline stories on THISDAY newspaper this Monday, and we move to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard says high interest rate manufacturers cut back on bank loans. Credit to sector records first quarterly decline in 2 years. Manufacturers seeking other funding options, CPPE. High lending rates, output decline discourage lending for investment. Businesses postpone investment decisions, analysts. These are riders to the leading story today on Vanguard. High interest rate, manufacturers cut back on bank loans. Credit to sector records first quarterly decline in 2 years. Manufacturers seeking other funding options, CPPE. High lending rates, output decline discourage lending for investment, coming from Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Businesses postpone investment decisions, analysts. Because we have the picture of Donald Trump arriving in Washington, D.C. President-elect Donald Trump and his wife Melania on arrival in Washington Saturday to kick off days of pageantry, heralding his second inauguration as president. MAGA, what awaits Nigeria as Trump mounts saddle? The stories are on page 8 and 9 of Vanguard. Efforts ongoing to rescue abducted AIG's wife, police. Federal government probes Niger tanker explosion as death toll hits 86. Sarah Price Trump seeks return of stolen assets as Designee denies ownership of repatriated $52.8 million loot. Onasonya refused fraud allegations, vows to defend reputation. In sports, CAF CC Eyimba crash in Egypt. That takes us to the stories above the masthead of Vanguard. A Labour Party crisis. We are heading to Supreme Court. Nenadi Usman. Rising international price of crude forces hike in petrol price. OPEC predicts rise in oil demand. Prices refinance marketers to ship burden to consumers. As Dangote refinery attributes new depot price to surge in crude prices. Badenoch attacks Nigeria again, says her terrible government destroys lives. We are saddened by her rhetoric coming from presidency in reaction to her latest tirade against Nigeria. Says her terrible government destroys lives. It's also on that note we conclude review of front headline stories on Vanguard newspaper this Monday. For continuation of these headline stories, log on to the website of Vanguard, www.vanguardngr.com. This also on this note, we conclude the first half of this program, Inside Nigeria. We are going to be coming back with the second half part of the program shortly with our guest joining us virtually. Don't go away, stay tuned. Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Unifor Dugbebo, and our guest for today is our modern guest, Ali Elias. He's a qualified economist. He's also a public affairs analyst. He's joining us breakfast. Ali, good morning. Dr. Ali, good morning.
Having me and happy new week to
Wow,
you.
you're experiencing some Bluetooth. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the program, as always. Leadership's leading story today says Japa syndrome threatening Nigeria's workforce. Of course, we know that there's something Japa has been on, especially since, will you say, recently, with the hardship and the economic realities of the country, and leadership's on this Japa syndrome threatening Nigeria's workforce as more night citizens seek greener pastures due to hardship. What's your take on that? And in
Right.
a
I think
similar development, the
Japa,
former president, Goodluck Jonathan, was telling Nigerians not to japa on the basis of hardship. How do you view that?
right. I think Japa has even become something very interesting. That's even attracts a dictionary. It was the Oxford Dictionary to include it in the dictionary. So it's become a global language. I think on the discussion of the former president Jonathan, it's a good one for him to keep on advising us. But you don't advise people who are poverty striking, people who felt that things are pretty difficult and they want to look for greener pasture to survive. So I think it's not really what we expect from him. We expect all our leaders to provide a better environment for us, so that at least we can, by so doing, flourish. If you flourish in your local government, what do you have to go and do in state capital? Flourish your state capital, what do you want to go and do in the state country capital? If you flourish in your country, why do you have to travel across the shore? So I think it's the problem of enabling environment for Nigerians. So you cannot blame the youth. They should create an enabling environment that will encourage us to stay put in Nigeria.
Confronting saying it the way it is, because if the country were good enough and the economy was viable, would Nigerians want to japa for any reason? But the president was not putting blame where it ought to be, that the political class has probably failed Nigerians. What's your take on that?
Right, right. For me, like I said, I think the major problem is that they are not actually doing the right thing, especially our political class, because our elites has bring us to this level. So imagine we've been in the Fourth Republic since 24 years or 25 years now. If 25
Mm.
years have been meaningful, developed Nigeria as it were, as expected, by now we would have been, if not a Dorado, at least we would have moved. Look at India, look at Brazil, even look at is it Malaysia. All of them have moved. So, but we are still where we are, and we are still complaining people Japa. People will continue to Japa. The only thing is that with the coming of Trump now, I don't know what will happen for
What
Japa
will
syndrome.
happen? However, this also underscores what Kemi Badenoch is saying. She's not relenting in her attacks against Nigeria, her home country. He says Nigeria, uh, her terrible government destroys lives. What do you have to say? And the presidency said they are saddened by her rhetoric. She's not letting on or letting go of her attacks against her country.
Right. Well, for me, sometimes I want to blame Badenoch, but sometimes I see her saying the truth sometimes. So
Exactly. She's speaking truth to the power.
it's a mixed reaction now. It's a mixed reaction. So for me, I think let her keep talking so that Nigeria will keep adjusting. Because if you don't, if people did not talk like that, Nigerian government seem not, and they cannot. The beauty thing is that they cannot block our mouths. They cannot stop her from talking. If it's Nigeria, they can bring all the apparatus, all the
So bear.
political power to make sure that they stop her from or gagging her. But now she's where she is, and she wants to talk about our country. I think that's a good one. I only want her to come to see reason to also contribute to development of Nigeria. It could be through policy making in UK. It could be through helping the youth. It could be through creating facilities and whatever. So she also should find a way to contribute back to the country, not only blame always, but I think she has the right to actually complain about Nigeria.
Yes, during her speech when her party were meeting, she did say that she wouldn't want UK to degenerate to where how Nigeria is. That is her fear. That she doesn't want UK to descend so low to be like Nigeria.
Well, I think it's a good one. Kudos to her.
But why is it that the don't you think the federal government is also playing the ostrich? Because in her first utterances, where she also made the allusions, took an attack at the Nigerian police force. Everybody pretends as if it's not happening.
Right. When she talked about Nigerian police force, what I expect the
Yes.
Nigerian government to do is to actually probe what she said and look into it.
Mm.
But I can tell you what she said
But
about
you
Nigerian
saw
police
what
force. A
led
lot
to
of
the
people have
NSAS
actually said
protest.
so too. I recall my friend who came from Dubai once said he was apprehended as he's landing, and they are accusing him of being what do you call it, being a Yahoo
Yeah.
boy. But he has to clear his name by actually finding something for these people to let him go.
Okay. It's really, really sad because our government, they are throwing away the baby and the bathwater instead of them to take what she said and try to adjust. Moving away from this Japa syndrome, we are on to the Niger tanker explosion that took place over the weekend. As we speak, the death toll has risen to 86. What is actually happening? Because before I read the papers, I was already saying that NOA is not doing its work very well because there's more for enlightenment. You have to talk to these people not to scoop where whenever there is a tanker explosion. And this
You
day
know,
reports that within 4 months, about 265 lives have been lost.
right. I think I watched the video, and unfortunately, I saw the video of when they are scooping. You need to see the video as they are happy scooping the petroleum product as they are running everywhere. Taking the but as the explosion also happened, I also saw the aftermath of it. That simply shows that we are not doing the normal orientation. But I can tell you there is need for us to bring about discipline first and foremost. I think first and foremost, the condition is a problem. If there was no problem, they will not be able to scoop the oil. That's number one. Number two, I think we need to do more because last year the same thing happened in this very Niger state where people lost their life. You could remember it also happened in other states, and it's recurrence now. So I think maybe they should go ahead in speaking the language people understand because sometimes you need to speak the language people understand. What's the language? Is that you go do jingle in local language and also arrest any people that you find that is actually doing such thing because people enjoy doing it. And to cap it all, some people have attributed to poverty, which I want to actually decline because poverty, if no matter the level of poverty, you won't compare it to debt. You see something that can kill you, and you say because you don't have money, you want to go and scoop it. I think that is disastrous. Going forward, government should take action to at least sensitize the tanker drivers so that they can alert government anytime their tank actually have for.
Now, in this with this, we still have the tankers ferrying fuel all across the country. But in the developed world, what happens to train?
It's because we don't even if you go to advanced country, if I thought there will be tanker along the road, they have their road, they have
Yes.
their way. So if they have their way, it won't really result to this. But I think we need to do more on our tankers so that at least we can move that from that very place they took it from to the end, to the last mile. However, what will happen to our pipeline? Pipeline is part of transportation. Why don't we pass all these commodities through our pipeline so that by the time it gets to where they want to take it, everybody can just key in a mini depot and take it from there.
Wow. Thank you for that. Today is 20th January. Trump is taking the oath of office today. What are your expectations for Nigeria? Like Vanguard says, what awaits Nigeria as Trump mounts Saturday?
Right. I think it's an interesting thing that Trump is coming for the second time, and maybe he will also right the wrongs of the last time. The thing is, we have three things we need to look at. One is political, the second one is economical, and the third one is Japa syndrome. So in terms of economics, which I think is very important, is our oil business. You know, what our mainstay is oil. Trump may possibly bring, Trump, America as a country also have oil, and they are not part of OPEC. But their decision making, their influence can actually affect OPEC's quota. That's what we're actually looking at from that direction. Then in terms of policy making, Trump is not even mentioning in Africa at all. I think the only country he's mentioning during this campaign was Congo. So I remember the last time he described us as we and Tanzania also as shithole. So I don't know his perception. However, I think Nigeria have to also grown up. We have a policy partner. I mean, what do we call it? We have partnership with America, and we are the largest black in the world, the largest in Africa. Trump, no matter what Trump does, he will still have to do something with us in Nigeria.
Okay, what about in terms of Japa, because he has never hidden his desire to clamp down on immigration, and now that he's going to mark the trend. And if you look at it, you'll be surprised that even the blacks in America gave him their huge vote, which even though he told them what he was going to do. Why was this so?
Right. Trump is very smart. He's an astute politician, even though he joined our politics not quite long and he rise to presidency. He actually speak the language that people want to understand. He speak to what people actually want. You recall he also negates LGBTQ. So that attract a lot of a lot of non-Christians, a lot of non-American blacks. So he actually speaks the language they actually want, and he also talks about in terms of American first. So I think all those things are the language that people want to hear. So I think he will
Yes, you
understand.
have
But
a MAGA,
according
make
to Joe
America great
Biden, he
again.
said we are seeing according to Joe Biden, he said we are seeing the return of oligarchy, which may be the major thing that Trump is going to do. You could see appointments, he's appointing people that his business partners. You could see Elon Musk in one part of his cabinet and a lot of things. So I think with what Trump is bringing, but the only thing I want to agree that Trump may bring peace to the world, because his first visit is going to be China, Russia, and also see to what is happening in
Ukraine.
Israel and Palestine. So I think he may find his way to bring peace. You recall during his 4 years before,
He
there
didn't
was
fight
no
any
war
war.
anywhere
Yes, he
until
didn't fight
Biden
any
actually
war.
came to power.
All right, thank you so much. Though we lost part of that, but we are continuing. But as far as Nigeria goes, especially in terms of black Nigerians, many Nigerians are still in US as we speak, and we don't even know. We have some that are still undocumented. Is Trump actually going to make good his threat and repatriate them back? And what effect, what impact would that have on the country, bringing these people back unprepared to Nigeria?
Can you repeat that, please?
Wow, we are not hearing him clearly again. We are
Can you
experiencing
repeat
some
that, please?
technical glitches. Okay. Okay, continue. Dr. Laz,
Can you say that again?
wow. Yes, can you continue? We cannot hear you. Oh, we are experiencing some glitches here. We are experiencing some glitches. Okay, let's go on a break now. When we come back, who knows, we'll be able to rectify that glitch.
Well, she's actually talking, but I cannot hear her.
Welcome back. The program is Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. I've had the pleasure of having a Monday guest. Is a political economist, public affairs analyst, Ali Elias join us virtually. We had to go on break because there was some technical glitches. However, we are back now. Ali, welcome back once again.
All right, thank you for having me.
Yes, we were experiencing some glitches. We had to go on a break shortly. Now we are back. We are looking at the controversial and well-rested tax reform bill coming from Oyedele, the chairman of the committee, says to be enacted by first quarter while implementation starts July. Overall, what will you say about the consensus that was reached at the end of the day?
Right, you recall in this beautiful studio, I told you that Mr. President have to compromise. You have
Yes,
to show
and that
understanding
was what
of
happened.
that politically he may be the president. Governors also have their way, and I
Mm,
told you that what North is actually fighting for is not for the North; it's for the entire country. So you could see that it has been shared 50% for the population, 30%
yes,
derivation, 20% for this is how
population
it should be because it is very, very important. So I think it's a good one for Nigeria now. It is now a win-win
situation.
situation going forward.
Okay. Well, there's another trending story. Remember the Attorney General of the Federation did sign an agreement with U.S. government to refund about 52.686 million is written somewhere. Okay, $52.8 million loot. They termed it designate loot. However, Denizen's lawyer come out to say it's not designate loot as it were, but that he has no hand in it. That the fund actually belonged to an oil magnate, Kola Aluko,
Right. In fact,
whose
it's
ship
a
was
very
sold up.
surprising. It's a very surprising news because when I saw it, and it was from
Mm.
Attorney General clearly said there's a link between Kola Aluko
And
and
Dezani.
Desiani Alinsin. I think he shouldn't have mentioned Desiani Alinsin. Now you could see this Desiani Alinsin lawyer came out, that's in terms of Chief Ozekome, that
Yes.
his client does not have hand in that. And I want to blame federal government. Desiani Alinsin has not even gone for trial, let alone convicted, and you are linking
Mm.
him with such. I think Nigeria should do well to make sure that she go on proper trial, go for and let court interpret if she's actually corrupted or not. You could remember, this is how we saw some jury going around that it belongs to Adesiani,
Mm.
Alisin, or only for us to discover that they said it's not her own. So I think we should stop sensationalizing issue. Federal government should do the needful by making sure that they actually try her before they can come out to say anything belongs to her. And I'm sure that they convicted Kola Aluko before they can seize that property, before they can
Mm.
sell the yacht and get the money. They should have said they got it from Kola Aluko, not linking her. If the incident could happen during Alinsing ministerial reign, but even
Yes,
at
it
that,
was.
it is not a case directly.
All right, thank you so much. It's on this note we bring to an end today's Inside Nigeria. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program, Ali Elias, and I look forward to having you with me beside the studio next week
Thank you. Good
Monday.
morning.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, this note we end today's Inside Nigeria Breakfast of Leadership Television, where we discuss topical issues and headline stories on some select newspapers. My name is Winifred Igbepo. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to join us same time, same station for another fresh edition of the program.
Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future.
For watching, for sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.